we shall be looking at how it is working, living, and doing business in a foreign land. In this case, we are looking at the United States of America, Germany, and the United Kingdom. This is in the mission of the exchange program that we are running. Bearing in mind that at Center for Africa Volunteers, we are working with members drawn from 18 African countries and some spread outside the continent. And these people are yearning to work, volunteer, do business. The question that we are going to answer today, how is it like working in a foreign land? In our international exchange program and international volunteer mission, I am your host, Josephat Moses Jim, from Nairobi, Kenya, the Executive Director of Center for Africa Volunteers. We have got a informative, educative, and a hot show for all of us. I call on our attention, our intellect, our voices to be added in this show to educate those who are listening to us now and those who shall listen to the sounds and images that are being recorded right now. The show is interactive. You will have the opportunity to ask questions, that is to our audience and our viewers on Facebook and YouTube. You can call through the numbers running on the screen, and you can text on WhatsApp if you have any question, any comment, or any addition to the discussion that is going to go on. For our audience on the Zoom, keep your mics muted and keep them muted at all times unless you have permission to unmute and ask a question or contribute from the box. Ladies and gentlemen, great people and God's chosen people, our great guests of today and panelists of today include number one, Dr. John Lukomona. Dr. John Lukomona is a community leader and a college principal, president and chancellor of Lukomona Jones University, based in the United Kingdom. Dr. John Lukomona believes that knowledge and ideas are the only, and I repeat, he believes that ideas and knowledge are the only common structures that can move with a person from one location to another. These are assets, and they need to be nurtured for effective delivery. He runs a West Midland Open College and AYB, which hosts business conferences and entrepreneurs, funds, executives, business startups, and individuals from all over the world to the United Kingdom. Impact Operates. Joining him also are people who he has influenced, capacitated, enabled, effected, and affected from Ghana, Uganda, and different parts of the world, as he shall share with us in a short while. The second panelist that we have, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Wayne Loin II. Mr. Wayne graduated from Gillard High School as a valedictorian, that is an active academician, with a 4.9 GPA. He graduated from Stanford University with architectural design and civil engineering in 2015. And in 2017, he graduated from the University of Michigan with master's degree in social work. And he tells me what kind of a person that he is. He is the founder and the CEO of a nonprofit empire for the youth. He is living as an ambassador for peace and love. You want an exit program in America? You want to connect with effective people who are peace lovers and ambassadors for peace? Mr. Wayne is here to interact and share with us great insights. Last
The organization that I founded 2005 is called AYD, meaning many people coming together with a view to do business. The focus was initially before the country of Zambia, among the Zambians, but many efforts have been countries in Africa, including sympathizers and lovers of Africa. What we do in this organization is, number one, is built on the 4 pillars: education, promotion, innovation, and linking. These are the 4 pillars we leverage to be able to link Africans in the diaspora and Africans in the mainland. Formality of education and interactivity to go to the next level is achieved through the Western Open College and the Corona University. Now the key areas we look at to push people forward, like myself, is what you already quoted in your preamble. The best asset anybody can ever have, which I call real assets, is this thing. Each one of you have this thing. That is a real asset. What they call real estate is figure of speech. I can take somebody who is well informed with the nurtured thinking, nurtured innovative mind, nurtured ability to link with systems. I can put them in the Sahara Desert. Next week, they begin to sell water to the United Kingdom. If I take somebody who has lots of money, but I don't have good brain, I put him in London, I find him next week is a beggar. So what we do in order to help people is to make sure 2 things are put into perspective. The first one is a vision of empowerment. That is to say, we tease out of every person, in particular those people who are living abroad at the moment, to tease out what is your vision. What makes you wake up every morning? I want this. I want to do this. I want it to happen. Number one, that vision must be legal, must be viable, must be translated into the financial talk. Because I know many brothers and sisters in Africa, including believers, we are very wealthy and are living very wealthy. In some areas, many sometimes very few people translate that wealthy into tangible financial things. Because money talks. So we promote people, number one, we nurture their vision through education. Secondly, we look at innovative ways of packaging it. Those ideas need to be available within the community. What within the community? Number one, point 4, if you are living abroad, is what the new link with your high commission or your consulate through the trade attaché. Not only when the passport is allowed to expire, but through the trade attaché. What is available on the ground where you come from? What's happening? To begin to get the intelligence. Once you are well diverted in those areas, it's a question of who do you link with, who has resources to make that thing you think about work. If in the country you're living in, for example, here in the United Kingdom or Britain or USA, you want that idea to be based in the nation where you are domiciled. Our question is, if you don't want that idea to be based in your country, what is the reason why?
That's what we want to quickly do now. Just hold on.
That's a big question. So you have 2-edged swords. Number one, you can do this to the country you come from. Number two, even in the country where you're living now, the key point is your original vision. When you came to your country, to this country, do not forget that vision. Do not bury it under the ground. Do not look at yourself. We are linking you into systems, including finances. People need money. Somebody was saying, oh no, if you give people money, it's a token. We can talk until we learn how to convert all the discussions into financial execution. Then we won't build our nations. Why do I say so? Number one, the awareness must be in this way. If I'm a wealthy person in finances and I come to your village, I want to invest in your land. Do you consider yourself to be a poor person because you are in the village and a wealthy person, Dr. Lokomona, has come to you with money? In most cases, people think that way, but my thinking is different. When a wealthy person financially comes to my village and wants to do business in my village, then I see how wealthy I am as well. If I attract 100 million in my village, it means I'm more wealthier than I ever thought, because the rich cannot do business with the poor. It's not true. Unless a person thinking that they are poor, they have a wrong understanding. And that's what misconceptions we are removing from our mindsets. So none of you in your city, having flown abroad, whichever way you came, whether by normal flight or whatever way, as long as you have left the home country, if in your land where you are in Africa or any part of the world, and an investor came to your place to invest anything, it means you are wealthy. They have seen something that is valuable that's going to give them money back, and you got it. So you've got to value yourself appropriately. This is where education comes from. And not only all education, a certain type of education, how things work. That's how we change people's mindsets. And I hope as we continue talking, some people that have experienced some of these transformations on the platform would speak. But let me cite an example of two lovely women, Grace and Charity. These are nurses living in the United Kingdom. And they joined our platform, I think, almost 10 years for Charity. Grace joined much later. When they came to our platform and they heard these things I'm talking about, they realized, wow, we could be sitting on gold and we don't even realize it. What did they do? They are nurses. They thought of going into construction because of what they heard on our platform. And they did it. They bought some machines. They took them to their country of origin. They planted them in a certain town, and this is Zambia, and they began producing building materials of high quality. They never went to live in Zambia, they still remained in the United Kingdom. What they did is to capture within 1 hour, because meetings for 4 hours, within 4 hours, they captured the thoughts of what was happening on our platform. They said, this thing can work. They invested $4,000 on one machine. By now, I think 5 years later now, they've got much more. And they produce beautiful building materials. When you go and see what these ladies are doing, you are amazed that these are necessities. How come now they are building? Because the assets of their desire was still up, and we showed them how they can actually translate that into productivity. Now they're still working in nursing, but they're in Zambia, they have getting employment, and they've got extra money coming to them. So in summary, this is how we, in our organization, in the things that I do, we transform people and help them to change their own environment and other people's lives. And in those stories I've shared, there is creation of employment, because people are doing things which are important, but you need somebody to hold your hand, and that's our role. Thank you so much.
As it is written in the big book or the great book, that as iron sharpens another iron, so does man to another man. Indeed, this is the platform, this is the show that connects the world in business, education, and prosperity. And as you heard from Dr. Lukomona, really, this is the show that you must not miss. The second guest and the second panelist that we are bringing, of course, the show is going to be open for all of us to contribute and give their comments, is Mr. Wayne. Mr. Wayne, the second. We call you the second here. Tell us about your nonprofit. What inspired this? What do you want to achieve with it? And are you open to working with individuals from other parts of the world, especially from Africa? So, talk to us.
And yes, indeed, I am enthusiastic about working with you guys from the mother. So with Empire for the Youth, our goal is to help young students, so young meaning 89 years young or 9 years young. It doesn't matter. As long as you have the desire to learn, we'll teach you about mastering your mental, physical, spiritual, and financial lives. So especially, I know with Mr. Rogers and VOLUNTEERS-CAV Foundation, learning about agriculture, learning about how with the Living World Tour and Sir Bailey in Los Angeles, how we could take music, use that to help bring agriculture resources as well as education with me here in Detroit, teaching in the schools. So using so many different tools, we have the technology as we see right now. We could speak with people from any place in the globe as long as we have the intentionality to bring people together with a plan. So what we say is we follow our GPS. What are our goals? What is our priority? And what is our strategy to hit our goals with that given priority? You know, so understanding with Empire for the Youth, we started in 3 years or 3 years ago while at the University of Michigan here in Ann Arbor and having the idea of student athletes. So being a former football player, being in the Rose Bowl at Stanford, being able to go to the elementary school and give them peer support. So a group of young leaders who don't have the exposure, who don't have the given resources that they could get from the university, but having them get an opportunity to be with players who have been in the situation that they're in, but now have a better opportunity after making it through 4.9 GPA high school, after graduating from a Stanford University, after playing football at the highest of levels. We have people who care about the community to talk to the community. People who care about the children because they can see themselves in the young kids that they're speaking to. People who can empathize with the number of man, we call it redlining, but I call it systemic oppression. How do you deal with that in America? Sometimes you may not see that problem in Africa, but being able to have an international exchange program, we could talk about those things so we could articulate what it is we go through and what it is we need so we could have mental peace, so we can have a desire to see the better life and not be sold a false lie that we're only given this amount of opportunities. And if you don't play basketball, if you don't rap, or if you don't become an entertainer, you don't have a chance at being successful. That is a lie. And a lot of people believe that to be the truth. And what my goal is to bring out the real truth, understanding that God is the truth, God is love, and love conquers all. And if we have love in our hearts, if we have love and the desire to help one another, if we have love and the desire to help ourselves, that's basically what it is, knowing and knowledge of thyself. If you do good for yourself, because our body is our temple. With our temple is either we feed ourselves something positive or we feed ourselves something negative. What are we feeding ourselves? Are we feeding ourselves assurance that the creator of the universe loves us and that he give us everything we need based on our mental intelligence? Or do we feed into the false lies of we need a shiny car to feel like we're important? We got to think about the reality of where we exist to ourselves. The value of knowing because someone comes in our community, we know the richness of having a family, having a support group, having a King Solomon mentality that we know our reputation is far more valuable than gold and rubies. So understanding that if we learn how to live with integrity, how to live as leaders and be compassionate for each other, how to work in my biggest thing, the people who I choose to work with, who I choose to do business with, are people that I know, people that I like, people that I trust, and people that I respect. So having those pillars, having those ideas of who are you every day when you wake up, are you a person that someone can trust? Are you a person that someone knows? Are you visible? Are you a person that someone loves and respect because of integrity? We got to ask ourselves that. We got to ask the community that. And we got to live a certain way so that we can do business and people would want to do business with us. We have the tools in place to do so. And as we have great universities like USC, like Stanford University, like the University of Michigan, we can share a common document. So it's a project request form, PRF, where it's universal. You guys in Africa could put in number of clients or the number of students or the number of participants that are going to be using the program through this project request form. Also, you could put the details of what services will you be using, what impact will you be having in the community. We type it up in one document. You put your business logo on it. You put the dates of when this event is going to take place, how much it's going to cost, and we put so everyone can see it. We'll be uniform across the board from Africa to California to Detroit to Florida. We'll put the same document with their logo. So it's like a team roster with everything we need to do to showcase and have data for the impact that we're having on our community. So if we truly want to show that we're working together, let's find a common ground that we all agree on. Because that's what God said. He said, when we come together in agreement, when more than two are gathered in agreement, he will bless us with his presence and there will be no confusion. He will make everything crystal clear and things will run smooth, man. Saw the movie Wakanda, build that, man. That's not just a coincidence that somebody had that. That's what we walking into, God's promised land. So let's work together, let's love each other, let's be passionate about living with hope, having only positive energy. Let's keep the hope alive, and let's always know that God is love, and love conquers all. My name is Wayne Lyons II, and I'm the CEO of Empire for the Youth and an ambassador of peace and love. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Great show, Add Your Voice, streaming from Nairobi, Kenya, Africa, the continent of choice. Uh, Mr. Wayne has highlighted a number of things, including different opportunities for working together, people living in Africa and those living in the US. And in his temple is an assurance that we are one family, we are one people, and there is great opportunity of working together in terms of doing business, working together in terms of education. And he shared the link through which we can get started. In this show, we are looking at practical solutions to things that are affecting our world. We, the people, we are past just complaining. We have to create solutions, and this is that very platform for creating the solution. Before I bring the second panelist, of course, all of us are going to be panelists, as I've said before. I got to sip the hot one. Is Sir Bailey. Sir Bailey is a great educationist that we have here on the show, also joining us from the United States of America. And just to intrigue our thoughts, in my research and in my communication with a number of people who've had the privilege to work and do business outside their motherland or outside their communities, they have experienced some aspects of culture shock, which is a natural thing. But third of all, we've seen our people or people across the globe being discriminated or treated indifferently depending on the color of their skin, how they speak, whom they choose to love, and whom they choose to associate with. So as you give us a talk, Sir Belly, what is it like working in a foreign land, if at all you have? And I know you've experienced and worked with people from different parts of the world. How is it like? Should our people who are planning to go work in foreign lands, coil themselves and remain here? What is it like working in a foreign land? Sir Bailey, it's your time, sir. And please also tell us what you're doing and how that is impacting the earth, God's earth. Thank you, sir, and welcome.
Yeah, for 2020 and all the guests for coming in. It's a beautiful, beautiful scene to see so many people all around the world. My brothers and sisters are melanin just bouncing off. What is it like to work in a foreign land? I think right now, for the Americas, it's really important because there's been a pushback against immigration. Locally, we have a lot of, even before COVID, in the southern part of the continent, South America, we have people from Guatemala, Mexico. So much of the historical traumas of imperialism being moved, having people move, and I know you experience it in Africa. I teach social studies. It's all over the world. It's a key reason why when the Black Lives Matter movement started here in America, in full support of Medina Abdullah and Patrice Cullins, I added with them, to consider arms. All lives matter, seriously. And so now as we do the attacks on Asian American population here in the U.S., it's clear that Christ came as the ultimate abolitionist. No respect of person. Are we able to invest in the young person that has very little as much as we are into an elder person that has experience and resources? Because Christ came not for the well, not for those that are doing well, but for the sick. And so, as we have this opportunity in this Kairos moment, as my friend, the strategist Terrence Mayfield of Solar Collective would say, in this Kairos moment, I'm finding that releasing all the pride of accomplishment, recognizing the lust of the eye that Brother Wayne was talking about. We want these shiny things. This is the way educational systems have been structured. This is the way that families structure themselves. This is the way a lot of churches structure. And so, as we move into our freedom, as we move into our power, I'm praying and hoping and believing that we're also moving into the generosity and the charity that God says He is, right? A love that causes us to sacrifice our early morning hours, get on up and get on the Zoom, right? Our time to find out who is Carolyn, who is Samson, who is Elvis. In this Zoom, also outside of here. I haven't worked in other countries, but I've been able to visit, and that's what I bring to the students when I'm speaking with them. Go see other places, do education in other places, go learn in other places. And I'm not opposed to work, but I think that that's a deeper question that we have right now. It's an important question, but I wouldn't want to lead I would want to make that more of a general conversation. I think that a lot of what we're experiencing with COVID passports is all just about that. And at the same time, we do have the economic, the environmental crisis that we're under. So, the ideas of think globally but act locally have a lot of credence. Still, like I said, there is something about the connection, like Dr. Lukuma said, we have to, not only have the education but be willing to invest in one another. And so Empire for the Youth with the Living Well Tour and Pillars Care plans on recognizing that souls are the soil. As we look into building how to first giving those opportunities to have cultural exchanges. And in those cultural exchanges are often employment opportunities, business. We're doing work together. And let's think about working together beyond economics. We're working together on our mental health. We're working together because this is of the decade for the African diaspora. Right, the UN decade for the African diaspora. So accessing these funds, discussing reparations together, and thank you for allowing me to have some time. Jenny Carrington of We Are Mother Earth and myself with Mr. Wayne Lyons, we created a song. We created a song called Uniting All the People. And our whole point of this song is to raise money for Empire for the Youth, for We Are Mother Earth, for the Living Well Tour, to build compassionate communities, places where, big up to Gregory Walker, you have opportunities to create wealth from our sanitation, from our poop, that we start to recognize. See, I don't know about my brothers and sisters in Africa. I hope you weren't told this lie, but we were told it in the classroom and at home all over, and it was this: money doesn't grow on trees. And the wiser of us right away said that's ridiculous because money is paper, and anything that's of value usually comes from a tree. And so as they locked up our brothers and sisters for growing and selling and dealing with marijuana, and now it's legal, we look at social equity of the apples, the oranges, everything that God grows, beginning with us, because he grew us from the dirt. He breathed in us a breath of life, so that we can work faithfully. That faith would engender more hope, and it's based in love. So, Brother Joseph, do we have time to run the song, or you want to do that later?
We're going to have time for this song a little later, as we will be coming towards the end of the show. And I promise you that you're going to be blessed with it. No, we are going to bring Dr. Lukomona back, but before I bring him, I want to bring in Miss Jennings Carrington, if she is in. I really wanted to have a conversation with her before, but if she is in here, and just before I also bring Miss Beverly to tell us a little about financial education, because what we are looking forward is to transform, the ideas that we have into money, and after having that money, how do we treat it? Because if we treat it wrongly, it will definitely mistreat and destroy us. Now, Miss Jennings, if you be there, would you just share your thoughts in brief? The world and her people, and from the point where I'm seated, we have victim mentality. We have people across the globe, regardless of race and color or social status. How do we overcome the victim mentality to a more liberal mentality? Because when we act as victims, and in the conversation that we are having here of working together, it would be very difficult for us to work as a team, or to work as a unison, or to work as a people of common heritage. People, we call it the human race. How to overcome the victimized mentality as we are yearning and driving towards cultural exchange and working together. Over to you, Jennings Carrington. Unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
New for me to do international work, the international global work, people in Africa, in Pakistan, in Jamaica, Costa Rica, is just really happening for me over the last year or two. So I'm a student, and I approach one of the ways that because as a woman, even, as a white woman, there's an interesting intersection where, I am very privileged in a lot of ways, and also have experienced a lot of oppression in trying to receive financial assistance from wealthy men. And I've, had a lot of, felt very victimized and very oppressed in a lot of ways. And one of the things that I've really learned is a couple things that I'll share. Number one, I just want to reiterate what Wayne said, which is that people really want to know the impact of how they're helping. So anytime that you're sharing something coming from a place of understanding your innate human value and your offering is so important. I think it was Dr. John Lucamona who said, if wealthy people are coming to our village to work with us, then we're not poor, we're wealthy. So there's a human capital element to what we are doing. Our sole purpose is a form of capital. Your rural knowledge that I don't have is a major form of value and capital that I'm trying to convey to some of these funders, right? So your knowledge of history and your local wisdom, I don't have that. That's valuable. And there is value to that. And when you approach conversations with funders, knowing and being confident about that value, it really translates. So that's the thing I would say. The second thing I would say is that it really is a balance, right? Because sometimes we do get walked all over, and funders really do sort of, they can sometimes be, I don't want to say stingy, but, reserved or conservative with their money. And just like any of us, they want to feel human. They want to feel comfortable. They want to be a part of something. They want to be a part of a community. So when we realize we're showing up here together to support each other, and we welcome and invite them into the project, and to have a part of the community, to have a voice. This call is called Add Your Voice. We need to give them a chance to add their voice as well. So that would be the second thing I would say. The third thing I would say, folks, is that you never know where the assistance or help or collaboration is going to come from. I've been chasing, these chasing gold, right? So I've been chasing these wealthy funds for support. And you know what happened, interestingly enough to me? I just want to share this brief story. I met a man on a subway 4 years ago who appeared to be, potentially homeless. And I talk to everyone. I talk to everyone on the subways all the time. It doesn't matter who they are. I love talking to people in New York City. And I exchanged contact information with this man, and I found out that he has Tourette's syndrome. He has a learning disability. He's in public housing, but he actually is so has an intelligence of his own. His Tourette's and his learning disability make him very focused. So he's been able to reach out to folks like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and get me connected to her office. This man who identifies as a person with a disability, but who I didn't shut out and I didn't silence. I welcomed him into our community, and it's paid back tenfold for me because, this man who I could have just shunned and who text messages me like 100 times a day, I didn't cut him out because he was different. I welcomed him into our group, and ultimately he's put more money in my bank than some of these wealthy funders. So you just never know what type of help you're going to receive and how we all have strengths. Every single one of us has a strength to contribute to the collaborative vision of a unified, thriving planet for our people and everyone on the planet. We're all a part of this, and we have to work in radical collaboration. So hopefully that answers your question. I see most people still on mute, but yeah. Thank you again. I'm looking.
Am I audible? I can't hear. She's still okay. Right. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. As I'm saying, that is very powerful tools that you're sharing with us here, and I'm glad that you've said that you never know where the help or the collaboration is going to come from. Thank you so much. Now, on the chat, please, you can put your name, text your name, email address, and even contact, because this is a platform for collaboration, and we are going to follow up this conversation, to follow up this conversation with and by action. Dr. Lukomona, your premises are going to form the basis of our conversation today. And you've mentioned that you have 4 pillars that you're working with to contribute to the greatest good of the greatest majority under the sun or on God's earth, as I've said. Just before I bring you in, I would wish to bring Miss Beverly to share with us a brief of the financial aspect and the financial education and how all of us can benefit from the same. And I'll also give her the privilege to introduce to us Miss Lynn Crandall, who is also joining with us. Welcome, Mami.
Back, yeah. Look, after, yeah.
Greetings and salutations to our global society and to Mother Africa and the United States. Truly, I am coming to you from Houston, Texas, and I just wanted to share with you in the area of my business and how I look at things. First, God, then health, then wellness. And it goes in that order because we know that when we seek God first, the kingdom of heaven, then everything is added onto what we need. And so I'm starting in a way, I'm going to go down a way of how we are networking. And my hometown, where I was born, was Chicago, Illinois. I went to Michigan, and then I came to Texas in 2011. I am a registered nurse with a 40-plus history of nursing. And I just wanted to share with you. You know, God doesn't make any mistakes. And at my church, Fallbrook Church, here in Houston, is where I actually networked and met Mr. Ralph Jennings. Ralph Jennings is, he has the wake-up call, which he introduced me to. And I just wanted to say, through that wake-up call of networking across the globe is where I met a lot of the leaders that's here today. Brother Wayne Lyons and Sir Bailey, we are on that call. It has been a blessing. So networking across the globe is where we're going to find our strength, because everyone has something that the other one does not have. And we are helpers one to another. So through that call, I actually met a gentleman that came onto the call, and his name is Donnie Howard. And through Donnie Howard is how I actually came into the awareness of what we call the rain sanitary napkin, which is an organic pad. Being a nurse and having being an advocate for change and for health, I found that the traditional pads that we use, they have recycled trash is what they use to manufacture our products. And so through that, this organic brain pad is how I am connecting and networking with Rogers Onega from Pillars Care Foundation, and also with Jehoshaphat Moses from the Centers of Africa Volunteers. I want you to know that I met these two gentlemen on the global network that Wayne Lyons hosts. So there is a platform that connects us all in the area of health and understanding uh, how pelvic inflammatory disorders and cervical cancers and a lot of things can be initiated from having a pad that has been bleached over several times. We know that what Alyss is from is a product called dioxin. I love education. I love to teach. This is a cancer causing agent on the health side, and what it does is it is directly linked to pelvic inflammatory disorders. It is directly linked to cervical cancer and any sort of miscarriages, you name it. So I thank God that the Demond Crump that has started this organization of the Rain Sanitary Pad, I bring that to you, and that's how I'm connecting with Africa. And on the wealth side, I am a proud world system builder. We help to educate families across the globe in how money works. You know, financial literacy is one of the areas that is it is not really taught in school. And unfortunately, that is not a good thing, but I am now in the process of working with a university right now to see how we can bring financial literacy in the schools. Understanding how your money works is where it starts. And we need to have this education because that's where the health and wealth starts. When we are placed in poverty, basically it's because we don't have enough assets or capital to be able to do the things that our mind tell us we want to do and how we want to be able to elicit the programs that we have. And so one of the things that I found that was very profound to me in working with both Rogers and Jehoshaphat is every program of when we're trying to bring something to Kenya, we find that Kenya is not on the list of countries that allows certain fundraisers to go through, especially through Facebook. There are lists of countries that are allowed. I can only see from Africa. South Africa is the only one I see on that list. So I say in the disparity that that's one of the areas that needs to be looked at. Why are you allowed to have a Facebook page, but you're not allowed to fundraise in your country? And so poverty is where we are. Poverty is what holds people in place. It's not that we don't have the mentality, the intellect to be able to understand how money works, is that we are being held from understanding the process. Rich men are not just rich because they have money. They're rich because they know how to situate the money and how to place it in tax-free strategies that they're not paying taxes on. And so understanding this platform is what we have as a world system builder, understanding that money is where the power and the leadership, it gives you a place at the table. We need a place at the table. It's time out for talking about what we're going to do, and it's time to do the work. I'm a person that I'm a committee person. I love sitting down and creating platforms so it can come out what? A solution. Because I believe when we have gone to school and we have these degrees, it is not just to have the degree to say I have it. You should be a change agent for your community, helping to build, like Nehemiah in the Bible in chapter 5 as they was rebuilding Jerusalem. So that's how I look at the world and the community and each one of you. All of us have a little piece that will help the other one. If we're not selfish and not think about self first, God will put it together and we can help one another. This is the platform for bringing it through. Everyone bring to the table what you have. Let's see how it all fits together. And that's why I say that through Sensational Business Resources, which is my brand name, I am networking across the globe because it helps me to find resources for other businesses that they can be able to use to help their community rise. So that is the financial industry, that is the rain pad, that is Medicare Advantage. I help seniors over 65 get advantages to help with prescriptions and things, and I'm a relief funding agent to help businesses that want to find resources to grow. So I thank you for this platform and each one of you. It is an honor and a privilege to meet you, and never, ever, ever think because we used to say in Chicago, all the talent is in the ghetto. All the talent is in the ghetto. We just don't have the paperwork to follow up with the talent. Look on Facebook, look at all of these different places where people are using their platform. So I thank you for this opportunity.
We are coming, time is really moving very, very fast. And before I bring Mr. Dr. Lukomona, I promised that we're going to give Miss Lynn Crandall, just introduce yourself in 2 minutes and tell us what you represent.
A nonprofit that works businesses and are funded out of. I have been a high school English teacher and I have taught in 6 states. I won my students won the Martin Luther King Living the Dream contest in New York for the whole state of New York because I've been working with people like Wayne and Sir Bailey my whole life to help them organize through my English teaching and writing skills teaching. How do you make documents that can be used to do exactly what Beverly just said? And Wayne sort of described that we use a project request form where we first pull the people together and talk with each other to find out what we do. Are you public, private, nonprofit, faith-based, academic, or media? And then what is your language and your people so that your birds of a feather fly together? And then you can go across all the organizations. And the leadership goes upward in the hierarchy. So we get the leaders teaching down, the people moving up and across the tapestry of social networking. And yesterday, a perfect model, Sir Bailey received a donation valued at $700. And when he took the donation that I had gotten from another organization, Sir Bailey and I signed a letter thanking that other organization. He kept a copy, I keep a copy, and the letter is given to the other group. Then we report that all to our LA hub leaders, and they gather all the value of the assets that we bring in. And then that gets given to the federal STEM nonprofit, and they go for multi-million-dollar donation grants. When we get the grants from the government, because the government sees the integrity with which we have received and used existing work, they know if they invest in us, they're going to get an extended return on investment. And that's how we move from existing resources into attracting funding so we can make better even more existing resources. Thank you for the opportunity to say this.
Thank you so much. I believe that Ms. Lynn is open for collaboration. She's open to mentor young people like us, you know, with her experience, so that we can move in the correct path. We shall be getting in touch with you so that we can tap from your years of experience. It is already, we said the function was to be for 1 hour, but we cannot close now. Give us the latitude and the liberty to move on in the next 20 minutes. And now let me bring Dr. Lukomona. Please, sir, would you share with us the 4 pillars that you're using to impact the earth? And the key question that I'm asking, how do we create wealth from the natural resources that we have? And how do we transform the ideas that we have into money? Welcome, sir. And after his presentation, we are going to have the opportunity to ask questions. You just lift up your hand, raise up your hand. You'll be given the opportunity to ask the question, and we are going to be sorted. Welcome, sir.
Presentations. I'm just amazed the wealth of information and knowledge that is present here. Beverly mentioned about finances work. That's very, very important. James and Wayne, they spoke beautiful stuff in their preambles. And I just want to add on to those pieces of information that we just heard, and I'll break it into our 4 pillars. The first pillar, although that not in any order of importance, I'll look at education. Very important. And with this statement, I would like to give a call to all of you, every single one of you, to study entrepreneurship. And there is a reason why I say so. If you've got an MBA, Master's in Business Administration, I'll invite you to go study entrepreneurship. Probably with us, it's better, and I'll tell you the reason why. If the reason why, if you are in what you call non-profit organizations, I want you to study entrepreneurship. And there's a reason for that, because I don't believe there's a non-profit organization. It doesn't exist. It is just probably a legal term, and I will explain that. If you've got questions to ask me on that one, I'll explain. Because everything we do is profitable, but I do accept the word, the terms non-profit making for legal and taxation reasons. But at the end of the day, it's all profit, and I will explain profits. So on the field of education, I just want to say that in order to help people, I've got a book that I go by, which is a small beautiful one, is an effective on Amazon. This is a small textbook which my students go through when they're doing their diploma and certificate entrepreneurship. And there's of course two other books that are written on every Zambian millionaire, part 1 and part 2. These are powerful. And the third one is coming on every African millionaire, and I've got a reason for saying that. So, in order to translate your idea into a implementable business vehicle, you need careful and focused training and promotion. Many things that we lay hands on can work only if we knew how things work. What was the rules of implementing a business idea in the Now, under the system of education, we say if you have an idea in an area where qualification could not expertise, it doesn't matter. In fact, many people that are planting businesses are not very educated. The only thing they understand is if they implement these things, value addition, they can sell and make so much money. But there are other things that go around pushing business in the public domain, in the market where governments can try to and it's well set in the community for you make money. And making money does not necessarily mean what the best thing that you sought for. An idea that comes to you will help you under the education and understand that the reason why people come buy because are solving a problem in the community. So when you find yourself in any community and there's so many problems, it means you have a chance to make a difference. Now, the biggest mistake you make is this. When you see a problem, you begin to complain and insult the power or the authorities. And God, I'm a Christian, whom you believe in, has opened your eyes to say, there is your job, solve that problem. Now, if you're not in tune on how to move to the next level, you lose it out. Now, when you come to us, we show you how you can package that solution to solve that problem into a business here. You can package it in what you call a commercial, where legally you can have shares and dividends can come in pockets. Secondly, you can package it into what corporate known as non-profit. In other words, they don't have a legal right to have dividends out of the business, although it is solving the problem for the community. For example, my dear sister mentioned about if you want to make something and donate to the community, probably you want to have a charitable organization which is in other words, you want profit financially, but they need to be profit because they are going to receive free donated so when you understand how this is work, you'll be able to translate your idea or your problem solving into one of these businesses. As for me, for both these two classes of information or charity, I say in your business structure in the middle, a commercial. Why? Because commercials have an ability to scale up without chasing people for funding. Scaling up meaning if you improve your product or services in quality, you can demand a bigger fee for the service. Now, the dividends that you can get from them, if you have a charitable arm, you can also have a charitable arm that now donates to the community because charity must be paid. I think Brother James mentioned about why Christ came. He also said, who are there? And the reason why poor are there all the time is because of the government. So education should help. And for the practical ways, for people in the diaspora, we have programs where we help you identify huge infrastructure development programs in your own country where you come from, and we match you with financiers who are looking for such kind of projects. And why I say people in the diaspora are more advantageous and more positioned in financial capitals. For example, I'm in the United Kingdom, I'm not far from London, the capital of the financial city. Some of you are in America, not far from Europe. And if you have an appointment, you can just walk in there or drive in there or fly in there, just a short walk. Or other people far away, they have to fill all these applications. So the face-to-face meeting, although nowadays technology can help us, but accessibility because of proximity can help us. So in that regard, that's how we help. We look at the intelligence, education. The second level under this linkage, very, very important. I think one of the ladies, I didn't write the name down, she made the person under the bridge, who then linked her to also beneficial routes. Linking is very, very important. I'm on a program because Mr. Lukamota was sure that link me to yourself. That is number one. So now we also bring in an element. How do you link and link these kind of things you're doing? Two. The first stage that we recommend is your local authorities. Very important. Why local authorities? Local authorities, they are the custodians of, in other words, they know what kind of development is going to be, is being focused in the area or in the borough. In the UK, when you say borough, it's a council. And those councils, they hold budgets, business development, they hold budgets for charitable development, and so forth. And they know where investment is possible. And I can tell you that any of your ideas that you have can fall into some of these things. So we bring you to the practical table. Not the theory where you're just shouting Christmas Day every day. No, things that can work for you now. And then we also now show you how to break it down into smaller pieces, smart goals. When people talk about smart goals, it's demonstrating how can you achieve support or to provide a service to 5 people. If I can provide 5 people, I can do Scholarship called John Lucoman Scholarship Scheme. I just put my name there for identity, not because of anything really. The greatest one is God. I just use that one. To date, over 100 entrepreneurs have been trained under the scholarship scheme. I gave into that community, but I have a responsibility also to pay back into that through assessment fees. Just a tiny amount of money. Now, I was one that came up with the idea, then had to find a crowd who can benefit and impact other communities. So that's linkages. Always, I say, as an African, as a businessman, as a businesswoman, or any nationality or background or racial background you come from, when you have an idea, seek to link it to other people. You can never succeed alone. Corporations, that's how they develop. So we have got systems to develop on that and we run consultants. Coming to the point of innovation. When we are doing all these things, we look at innovative ideas. Behind me, I don't know if you can see one of the graduation ceremonies under the WMC. So one of my students down there developed a very good concept. He took over this part of the company where I was working and developed a very good idea, which was already in existence, but how to take it out to the community. We showed you how to do it. This is the machine which two of my participants and many others at the board now are using. But for people who come to us and they are looking for money, I think just about I was just with you this morning when I called you. You must be innovative, even those, because I want to say this because I can hear people on the platform run charitable organizations. Even those 14 of us, we one day said, let's put money together on the table. Let's see how much money we're going to make. Within a month, few months down the road, 14,000 pounds was on the table. And I said, did we go to any funding? The answer was no. So we began creating our own pots of finances from the resources that we have, knowledge, innovation. So I'm encouraging people, how do you translate your ideas work under this focus? The first part of the focus is the locality where you are. And innovation is very, very critical in any development. So all those things we found in entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship teaches those core areas which economics does not teach, which is why you find those many people with economics, they can only work for another company, but they cannot run their own business. Because entrepreneurship is a different domain altogether.